Welcome, everyone. I'm Amy Seeley, president of Seeley Test Pros and Leap, helping students to succeed in all kinds of tests from 8th grade to grad school throughout Ohio.
And I'm Mike Bergin, president of Chariot Learning, helping students with test school and life based out of Rochester, New York.
Between the three of us today, we have over 75 years of experience at the highest levels of the test preparation and supplemental education industries.
We both love to talk and learn about the latest issues in education, testing, and admissions. So let's get down to tests and the rest. The fascinating test prep professional we want to profile today is Lucy Zhang. We're so happy to be speaking with you today, Lucy. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Amy. I'm happy to be here.
So, Lucy, can you tell us a little bit about where you are and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been in the education space for a little over 10 years now. I started SetSail, a tutoring company that connects American tutors with kids in China around 10 years ago. And then last year, right around a year and 2 months ago, I purchased a tutoring company, Dan Asher's company, A Plus Test Prep and Tutoring.
From our old friend, Dan Asher.
I'm not going to lie, Lucy. As much Mike and we go way back with Dan. So there was a little bit of sadness of like, oh, where's Dan? But then, of course, you've entered our universe. So that's lovely.
There are large shoes to fill. Dan's fantastic, but his tutoring company was 20 minutes from where I grew up in Jenkintown, Pennsylvania. And so I've been working on that as well for the last around a year.
That's fantastic. Now, how did you get your start in education? Like you started SetSail 10 years ago. What led you to get into that? And did you do anything before you launched a tutoring company? I imagine the answer would be yes.
Yes. I come from more of a business background. And so I was in management consulting, was working at a company called BCG before that. And I started SetSail when I was doing my MBA. And I started it with a classmate. She's my co-founder for that organization. And we really just wanted to create a space where kids from China could feel comfortable and start practicing actually using English, because my co-founder was from China and she felt like she could learn everything in a textbook and then come to the US and have a lot of trouble actually raising your hand in class and being able to engage in the classroom in the US. So that's how that originally got started. I was excited about starting a business, but I also, love the international space between US and China, and really, loved working with the kids and loved tutoring.
Well, it sounds like you were able to sort of put a lot of pieces together of your life, like kind of spokes in the wheel to like a hub to create that. And I love that idea of just like your entrepreneurial journey, that like, because I sort of take for granted being in test prep, being a tutor, and just it like led me here. In your particular case, there was so much intentionality and deliberation, which I think is just like amazing.
Yeah, I grew up spending a lot of time between the two countries, and
Sure.
It was at a point where I felt like oftentimes people were very misunderstood on both sides. We're still in that sort of space, and so I was just excited to be able to help the dialogue a little bit where I could.
Obviously your path here was not the traditional like education degree. You teacher turns into tutor. I'm curious if you thought back about sort of like your, training, the training to be doing what you're doing. How would you describe sort of what training you might have had that has sort of brought you to where you are today?
I think a lot of work in terms of systems and working with people was incredibly helpful earlier on in my career, and pushing me into growing the company, growing the companies. When we started, I was tutoring, and so I did all of the tutoring.
Okay, so you were a tutor, so that was what I wasn't sure.
I was absolutely,
Okay.
yeah.
That's
I tutored,
helpful to understand.
Yeah, maybe for the first 6 to 12 months, I was the tutor. And I think
you were the tutor.
I was the tutor, right?
The
So
tutor.
We started, and it was like, I'm going to be the tutor. I'm going to figure
She
out
was
how
the
to
commodity that she was selling in the beginning.
And I think I was a good tutor. I was not the best tutor. There are plenty of people who were and are much, much better at this than I am. And so, I started doing it that way. But for me, I ultimately wanted to grow the organization and be able to impact more students. I think there's a lot of ways to go about that. Some people, and I really respect that, continue to tutor, and that's fantastic. I wanted to grow. And so, we started expanding, hiring tutors, hiring lead tutors, figuring out sales
And
teams.
obviously, because these were
Yeah.
connecting with students from China, presumably, so what platform, like what were you using? Because that probably predates a lot of us being on Zoom with our students.
No, we've been on Zoom since like 2015.
You are an early
So
adopter.
well before
Talk about
COVID.
a trailblazer in the, the
Well
space of
before
digital
COVID.
platform. Right.
You
Yeah.
know what? Actually, Amy and I are proud to say we were on Zoom before the pandemic too. We
Yeah,
started the podcast on Zoom and we've been on
We
ever
did.
since.
Yes, exactly. So that was actually
there
felt
you
great
go.
when the pandemic hit. So, yeah. So in terms of like, the evolution then of your practice, like kind of, can you share a little bit about like how this has whole evolved for you, especially now that you are specifically operating in the test prep space?
And
Yeah.
you took on a mature test prep practice,
Right.
but you've undoubtedly started to put your
Because how
own
old is A
stamp on
plus?
it.
When did Dan start A plus?
Um, 1992,
Yeah, that's what I thought.
believe.
That's actually what I
So
thought.
yeah.
Yeah. Before Mike and I
So
actually
it's
got in the
been
industry, Dan had a couple years on us, Mike.
When we have had him on the podcast, we've spoken about the fact
Yeah.
that, he got in even before us.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's built a fantastic company that, is well known in the area, well respected. And so I think I'd wanted to move a little bit more into the US because SetSail is all focused on China. And honestly, from my perspective, the most effective way for me to do that was to go in and acquire a company that was already existing, had a following, was in the community. And I think this one just, it was very fortuitous how Dan and I had worked together a little bit in a consulting
Okay.
capacity for, 1 or 2 years beforehand. It happened to be very close to where I grew up and where I was familiar with. And so,
It had to
just
feel
ended
at
up
that
working
point,
out really well.
it must have felt really right for you because you had so much time to really get oriented with the company, in a way that I'm
hmm
sure you felt really good about it because you knew so much going into it, which is not always the case with acquisitions necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, I still think it was very different to when we were consulting. I was really just working with Dan, with very
Sure.
little interaction with the
Okay,
rest of
gotcha.
the team. And so that was still a big, shift when
Hmm.
Yeah.
we took
Lucy, do
over
you
the
still
team.
own SetSail?
I do, yes.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah. So
both are happening. Yeah, both are active companies.
you wear many hats.
Wear a few hats, yes.
Now that you're in the test prep industry, what are your
Mhm.
favorite aspects of working in this space?
So I have a friend who every time we do introductions, he asks people to say the least interesting thing about themselves. Funny.
Oh, I love that.
And
That's hilarious.
the last one I said a few months ago, I was like, I actually love standardized tests. I've I
We'll argue
enjoy
about how interesting that is. I
Right.
think it's fascinating.
Yeah.
yeah, outside of this world.
True, true.
But yeah, I liked taking the SAT and prepping for it because there's always one right answer. I don't know. I was a nerd in high school, but I enjoyed doing that. So I do love kind of being back in this space. I think the people, honestly, I think tutors and teachers are some of the most genuine and kind people in the world
Hmm.
because you're giving
Yeah.
your lives to helping, educate the next generation to, help students reach their full potential. And so it really is the best group of people that I've honestly ever worked with. And obviously the students and making sure that, they're set up for success. I just love the industry.
Yeah, I love the way you put that. I like to tell people that test prep professionals are among the most interesting individuals you'll ever encounter.
Totally
Everybody is
agree.
full of rare esoteric knowledge. Everybody is well spoken.
They're intellectually curious usually.
People are mission
Mhm.
driven. They're curious, like they want to help people. It's just amazing, like the group of people that we meet in this space.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So the flip side would be interesting. I can't wait for this one. What are some aspects of being in the test prep industry that you find frustrating or challenging?
I think it's difficult to find tutors who know the test extremely well and also can teach it well,
Yes.
right? So I think that is always the combination, right? Just because you can get a very, very high score doesn't mean you can coach other people to get a high score. Um, and so yeah, it's a very unique skill. So I think that's one piece that I find challenging. One other aspect is I would love to be able to provide these services to as many students as possible. We still have to pay our staff, we still have to pay the tutors, right? And so I think there's that element that any business in the education space deals with. But you know,
Yeah, I think what you're saying
that's
is
one
because
more
the people
piece.
who are drawn to this field, there is that generosity and wanting to help people, that for all of us, we reach a point where there's only so much we can do, we can give up, knowing that there are always more students we can serve, right? There just always are.
Absolutely.
So that can feel definitely frustrating or challenging at
It's
times.
Hmm.
interesting for me because in the past I've found that my biggest challenges in trying to give services and opportunities away is more in the demand than the supply side. It's hard to connect your desire to be generous and provide services to underfunded communities with a way to actually deliver to those communities and get engagement to the point where you make a difference.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah,
But that's like
it is
part of the
a
whole ecosystem, right? That's the challenge.
right. Absolutely.
I do love what you
Absolutely.
said about the challenge about teachers and looking at it is there's sort of two things. There could be a good tester, but they might not be a good teacher. Can there be a good teacher and they don't really know how to teach the test, which is obviously what we do. But not all good teachers are good test prep teachers. So there's these assumptions that we might make about a good hire, a good tutor, that aren't always going to be absolutes in the hiring process, which I'm sure you're seeing that now kind of as you've become more and more involved
Yeah.
in A plus. So yeah.
Absolutely. And I would argue that the most important thing that we do is hire and maintain the tutors, right? That is the
100%.
entire crux
That's it.
of the business. Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you have great tutors, you have great outcomes.
Yep.
And if you can support great tutors and you can keep them on staff and you can help them get better, then the effects that ripple throughout your practice are profound.
Yeah. And that was one of the things that I was incredibly impressed with Dan when I came on because we have tutors who have been with us for 10 years, 20 years.
That's such a testament to a
And
really well run, at
Yeah.
least test prep tutoring
yeah, it's
business,
a
is the commitment
testament
of
to,
instructors to the organization.
yeah. And we were very happy. So no one, knock on wood, for the last year no one left. And so that
Mhm.
was, I was very nervous about that. My joke as we were transitioning last year was that my goal
Sure.
for year one was just to not break anything.
No, that is
It was working, like, don't break it.
Lucy, you and
And
I
they,
are on the same page. I know exactly what you're describing,
yeah,
right? Don't break
exactly.
anything.
Yeah.
Don't touch the merchandise.
Yep.
All right,
Yes.
Lucy, this was all prelude to the most important question. And it's not what's least interesting about you, but what is something that most people would be surprised to learn about you?
So I'll go off of work a little bit. So two things that I really enjoy doing, two activities. I really like salsa dancing, and I really enjoy playing chess. And those are
Ah,
two pretty disparate interests.
They
those,
are disparate, but I've just been seeing clips for chess boxing. I wonder if there's chess
I,
dancing coming.
I was like, I don't think boxing is going to be up my alley, but
yeah, you
But
never
it's like
know.
chess boxing is like these two guys duke it
so
out in the ring,
random.
and then they sit down at a table and they play chess against each other.
It's brains and
Maybe
brawn
there's
right
going to
there.
be a dancing equivalent.
That's so interesting. How long have you? Well, I'm gonna guess chess. You've played for a really long time.
No, honestly, it was a
No.
COVID pickup. I mean, I
Oh,
knew how to
okay.
play chess, but I
Okay.
really, COVID had to do something with my time.
And then how long for salsa
Um,
dancing?
And salsa dancing, I used to go a lot more, but that was also kind of a adult,
Okay. Sure.
probably for the last 10 years or so. But yeah,
Interesting.
I just really enjoy both of those activities.
Yeah.
That's terrific. They're very different.
Hmm.
If you had to pick one, which would you pick?
Oh gosh, probably chess.
Probably chess.
It's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
He likes
that's
to
good.
work
It's
the
easier to
mind.
fit
I
into your
did.
day.
It,
so-
it is a little bit easier to,
Well, and you can
yes,
come
to
back
fit
and
in
forth
and
to a chess
shuffle.
game,
Mhm.
right? Like, I mean, you can leave it and
Yes.
come back. And so
Yes.
there's truth to that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
That's hilarious. Well, Lucy,
But yeah.
we could talk about you all day. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you to both of you. This was lovely.
If
Awesome.
listeners would like to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
They can go and find me on LinkedIn.
Awesome. We hope you enjoyed this discussion as much as we did. Be sure to join us for another fascinating topic and guest on the next Tests and the Rest.
Did you enjoy this episode as much as we did? Find expanded links and more for this and all of our episodes at our show page at testsandtherest.com. While you're there, be sure to explore everything the larger TestBright site has to offer, including real, expert, unbiased answers to the toughest admissions testing questions. Of course, we'd love for you to rate, review, and subscribe to Test and the Rest on your favorite podcast platform. If there's a topic or guest you'd like us to feature, just let us know and spread the word.